Boom. All right, what's up, Waves fam? It's Royce Jacob. Welcome back to another newsletter exclusive edition of Sunday Stock Watch. Time to get back down to business. You guys, I was loving the volatility that we were seeing in the markets last week in the wake of all of the massive earnings that were going on. We do have more earnings coming up this week. We will be taking a look at a few of those. So I have to imagine that this volatility will continue going into this week. You guys know we love the volatility. The Waves fam thrives in those rough waters. So I do hope this volatility continues. Once again, I trust it will. If the crypto markets are going to be any precursor, will act as a precursor to the markets, and I'm feeling even more confident about that. Ether ripping right now. Ether, Chainlink, you guys, a lot of altcoins are doing really well right now, just as expected. It feels so good. We will kick it off on the chart today with Ether. Of course, got to talk Bitcoin. Not going to touch on Link because I just touched on that in the last video. I don't feel like that's super relevant, but Ether looking super exciting. Do have a quick article to touch on with Ether. Not going to get too deep in the articles today, you guys. Just going to kind of riff on these, even when it comes to the charts, because we just have a lot of names to go over. Going to do kind of like a rapid fire, like just really talk about more short term, how I think we're going to open up the week. Not really go long term. And just give you guys some of my general thoughts on all the plays we're going to be covering, because again, we have a lot to cover. Don't want to waste your guys' time, and I want to keep it timely for all of us involved. Okay, so we will read over this. Bitstamp CEO says he's been blown away by interest in Ether staking as exchanges gear up for Ethereum 2.0, or again, what is to come allegedly from this London hard fork. Okay, again, London hard fork, August 4th, huge deal. Okay, so we'll read over a few key points here quickly. Again, not even going into the depths of any of these articles. Another one we have to touch on here: S&P 500 closes Friday lower as Amazon shares slide, but not just 6 straight positive month. Okay, so we'll take a quick look at one of these good old little earnings images that these guys make up. I love looking at these. Go over a few of these. Talk, of course, about a few of the plays that I'm keeping an eye on in terms of earnings. Before we do that, while we focus on crypto, because the beginning of the video we will just focus on crypto, we will take a look, as I promised, in that crypto convo I posted on Saturday. We will take a quick look at Mar and BTC. Give you guys my thoughts on those. BTC is lagging. Again, BTC testing a very, very crucial line of resistance. If that proves to hold, if BTC is not able to break that, if it just takes some time, if it uses that as a line of resistance, as I have to imagine it will. But if investors do begin to lose sentiment, I do think that BTC will see more downside. And as a matter of Bitcoin seeing more downside, it only makes sense that Bitcoin miners see more downside. If that happens, of course, not going to be mad. I'll actually be more stoked, because then I can accumulate after a lot of like my earnings plays and stuff I feel have played out completely. Okay, so in terms of earnings plays I'm playing, you guys know I'm playing. Let's just look right here. So you will take a look, of course, at all of the call options involved. Got to take a look at Helion. I mean, the portfolio says a lot about my my bullish sentiment around like what I'm most bullish on. A lot of you guys in the Discord and stuff are like, "What's your favorite stock?" Just look at the portfolio, you guys. Just look at the portfolio. What's my favorite stock at the moment? It's Helion, because that's the largest position in my entire portfolio. Okay, so Helion. Feeling very good about Helion right now. Their earnings are on August 11th. Lucid, we will, of course, take a look at Lucid. Not having the best week as we came out of the gates, as the merger was successful, but still feel good about Lucid Motors. Tesla looking very good. We will take a look at Tesla, because, again, you guys, Tesla is to the EV sector what Bitcoin is to the cryptocurrency sector. So, got to take a look at Tesla. Tesla actually just broke a very significant line of resistance. So that makes me very, very bullish on Tesla from a technical perspective. We'll take a look at Tesla. Poor Workhorse. At this point, unless Workhorse does just see a flood of short squeezes, or I think their earnings are on like August 11th as well, in the August teens. You guys can go look it up. At this point, I'm not I'm way more bullish on many other names out there than Workhorse. So poor Workhorse, these calls are likely going to go to zero in all honesty, unless again something crazy happens. It's happened before. Just my money's not on it. It just doesn't practically make sense to be bullish on these calls anymore. But Space, I am still feeling good about Space from a technical perspective. I do think that as capital flows in the wake of, again, Amazon's earnings. Amazon on Friday was down like 7%. That's insane. But I do think that, as I've been saying, you guys, if capital starts to flow out of the big caps, out of the blue chips, out of places like Amazon, Netflix and stuff, in the wake of impressive earnings, but just, again, it's been like these stocks have just gone ballistic. The S&P is at all-time highs. So at some point, these have to correct. I do think these will correct. If capital flows out of those, that capital will want to find a home still. That capital still wants to be put to work. So I do think, and again, the fact that Bitcoin, that the cryptocurrency markets are once again rallying, is a precursor to the fact that a lot of investors are gonna be feeling more risk on, like risk on hyper growth sectors like cryptocurrency, like EVs are gonna start to pop off again as this capital wants that leaves again larger cap stocks, wants to find a home. And again, if these smaller sectors are ripping, then that's likely going to be the candidate for a new home for that capital. Okay. So we will take a look at, we can take a look at Penn and Revolve. I don't know where the heck, I think Revolve is at the very bottom. Revolve is right here. Penn is higher up, like right next to DraftKings. So we can take a look at both of those. DraftKings is actually one on here. I think Penn announces on Thursday. Revolve announces next week on the 10th. So still holding those, still very bullish on those two. I think Penn and Revolve are absolutely going to crush it. Let's go back to the portfolio quick. Maxar, Space, again, Space, that's where that rant started. I do think that Space has corrected. I do still think Space needs to see a bounce. The volume sucks on Space, but just from a pure bounce perspective, from a pure sentiment perspective, and again, if capital does see a flight into more growth risk on sectors, I think Space is a great candidate. Maxar is just looking solid. Maxar, I'm very proud of this play at this point in time. Maxar, I believe, announces earnings next week as well. Maxar just looks good, and I feel very safe with that, having a pretty significant position in my overall portfolio at this moment. I don't think it's very necessary to look at Maxar, but I do like, there's a reason that I'm holding a significant position in Maxar still, and that's because I'm still bullish. Okay. And then Revolve, the new face in the call option portfolio, going to be holding this guy for a while, and I feel very safe with this too, because I actually the guys, the CEO, the founder of Revolve, is like 2 points of pretty close contact away from me. I'm big fans of those guys, acquaintances, you could say, with those guys. And I know this is not like insider trading. I don't know the numbers, but I know they've been crushing it. So I'm very confident in the performance and the earnings call that Revolve will partake in on August 10th. Okay. So moving down, Workhorse, I get QuantumScape closing the week out. What the heck just happened there? Closing the week out a little rough. Sunrun and Bloom, I actually am bullish on. I believe both of those announce earnings next week as well. Can take a look at those. ChargePoint, Blink. I don't know if you guys caught that, but earlier this week there was some weirdness about Tesla offering their charging. Tesla pretty much going into mass charging stations. I do have to believe that dampened the performance of ChargePoint and Blink, which are obviously EV charging focused companies. That is their primary objective. So at this point in time, both look bad technically, and those optics are bad right now as well. So I just had to dump those because I am more bullish on just fundamentally Bloom Energy and Sunrun solar company, green energy company, and just going to diversify a little more into green energy as opposed to EVs, because I'm already heavily weighted in EVs. That's just kind of my general that's my general rationale behind that. Alternate systems, those fucks, dude. God damn it, Randall. So alternate systems, that was such a whack press release. Like, I don't even want to read over that, but super whack press release. It's like, again, this guy, I believe the Waves fam, I believe we have to be the biggest YouTube channel that pushes this. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if again, a lot of the float belonged to the Waves fam at one point of alternate system stock, and that press release was like the most disappointing thing I've ever seen. These guys need to step it up, because, and again, it was just a cop out. Like, it was just an excuse. Don't be pussies. Don't be pussies, Randall. Just step up your game. Get us some pictures of bikes, because you're making me look bad and you're making all of us lose money on your stupid stock. Okay, so step it up so you can win and we can all win as well. Okay, you guys, that's just like my honest, super honest, a little blunt, a little too blunt maybe, but my honest opinion on ALYI. I will give them time to redeem themselves. I will give them a month or so. This guy's supposed to be in Kenya. I don't know if you guys read that newsletter. Allegedly in Kenya. Take some pictures. Show us pictures. Show us pictures of any development that you're doing over there. Make sure you're not just going on some whack safari or something, okay? So I will give them some time, just because I am a victim of like the sunk cost fallacy to some extent at this point. But I do still think that they can pull through. The vision is still of the best I've ever experienced, like I've ever come across in the markets. So if they can even execute a little bit, I will be bullish. I just need to see some photographic evidence. Just follow through on your word, man. Come on, be a man. Okay, Virgin Galactic Space, again, Maxar, bullish on those, right? BTBT. MicroStrategy crushed earnings last week. MicroStrategy's obviously, like, all these plays right here are promising. Moderna just continues to rip. I actually do want to talk about, so after this, we will talk about the Robinhood IPO as well. Robinhood has the worst debut ever for an IPO of its size. So I will just say this right off the bat. I think next week, maybe if I have time, if some of the plays we're taking a look at don't rip. I do want to make a video specifically about the Robinhood IPOs at some point, like whether Robinhood is a good investment or not. I personally think it's a great, like 30 billy sounds cheap, seems so cheap for Robinhood for the brand. And again, you guys remember, story runs this market more than ever. It always has, but in this time more than ever, story and brand means more than it ever has in the history of ever. Okay, so Robinhood, everyone on the planet pretty much knows what Robinhood. If anyone new is going to create a trading account, create a brokerage account, you're probably going to Robinhood. Okay, Robinhood, in my opinion, used it pretty much every brokerage, like Webull, whatever. eToro has approached me with brand deals, and I just don't want to because I like Robinhood way more. Obviously, that's lucrative, but hey, I like Robinhood, and Robinhood's done a lot for me. And it has the best UI, the best user interface by far. So I think Robinhood, if anyone new, anyone on the come up is going to make a trading account, it's obviously going to be Robinhood. $30 billion is so cheap, honestly. Like, I would not be surprised at all if Robinhood at some point became, I mean, at least a $300 billion company. I'm sorry, maybe even a trillion. So if Robinhood one day, maybe in like 10, 20 years, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see Robinhood at a $1 trillion market cap, which would be over a 30x from here. Okay, so that's important to understand. And again, we're not going to talk. I pretty much talked all about that all I want, but keep in mind, you guys, don't be surprised if you see me picking up some Robinhood shares. And then Crispr, this is sick as well. So Crispr, I know a lot of you guys have seen Crispr in my biotech area. So Crispr, it's at 1% right now. It used to be at like 5% at one point. Crispr and Editas are both gene editing focused companies. I would say two of the oldest stock positions that for the most part are untouched in my entire stock portfolio, because I've been invested in Crispr since like 2018. Okay, so Crispr reached a big milestone this year by treating a disease inside the body. Here's what's next for the technology. Breaks ground as one-shot treatment for a rare disease. So Crispr, you guys, gene editing technology. This Crispr, I think, currently has like a $9 billion market cap. And this, at some point in time, almost 100% positive. You guys can mark me on that. Almost 100% positive that genetic editing, it kind of just saw this last week. A company by the name of Helion made a really big breakthrough, and it popped. But Crispr, I believe, has a $9 billion market cap. I think Crispr will almost 100% be, at some point in time, have at least a $100 billion market cap, which is a 10x from here. So Crispr, as far as a long-term position goes, super promising. Like, I feel if I was to like let one stock sit for just straight up 10 years, I couldn't touch it all. Honestly, might be Crispr, just because that's the natural evolution of the world. Like this genetic editing in biotech, like genetic editing within biotech, obviously, like genetic editing is a subsector of biotech, but genetic editing, which Crispr is obviously the king of, is like so obviously going to be a massive part in in the human race, in the human species, amongst the human species over the next decade. So Crispr at some point, I know, will almost for a fact, again, like 10x. So I'm very excited about that. But for now, that's just good news. I just want to put that on your guys' radar, because similar to Robinhood, don't be surprised if after this earnings season, once I start diversifying a little more, Crispr might show its face a little heavier again as we come out of this earnings season. And yeah, Editas as well, because Editas has a smaller market cap, and it pretty much follows Crispr, so that's just an exciting trade as well. Very bullish as well. I know Kathy Wood holds both Editas and Crispr for a long time, so if you guys like Kathy Wood, not the hugest fan personally. I respect her as a woman. I respect her success, but yeah, she's held them for a while, so if that's a little cherry on top for you, then great. But anyway, those are pretty much all we're going to be covering. Again, Penn and Revolve, pretty bullish on those guys. In terms of charts, let's just kick it off. Again, let's go rapid fire here. So Ether on its way up. If you guys watched that crypto combo I posted, I think Ether is going to come test previous support as new resistance. Very significant trend line right here. Ether up to $2,900 over the next few days. Bitcoin, where are you guys? Bitcoin. So BTC is looking pretty good, but again, you guys, this line of resistance has proven itself to be in play. It's very likely that this will hold in play. And in all honesty, you guys, I would personally put the likelihood on the fact 60-40 that Bitcoin, 60-40 that Bitcoin will see $25,000 before $50,000. Okay, so that's not to say that I don't think Ether can like what we're seeing. Like what we're seeing right now. That doesn't mean that Bitcoin can't go down and Ether can't go up. Maybe a lot of capital we'll be seeing ETH, like, again, like the like capital flowing from the big chips, from the Amazons, from the Netflix to smaller, more promising sectors. The same thing, the same principle could apply to Bitcoin and altcoins, okay? So maybe we see some Bitcoin convert to Ethereum. Again, a lot of times crypto stays crypto. It doesn't go to USD, it doesn't go to fiat. So BTC to ETH, probably we're seeing some of that now because resistance has been tested. But if BTC does break this, again, you guys, I'm bullish at this point. If BTC closes the daily above 42.5, I'm bullish. But for right now, still more bullish on Ether, and I would still, from a purely technical perspective, still put the weight on the side of $25,000 of more downside prior to more upside. Okay, maybe not 25K, but definitely more downside, maybe like 30K again. Okay, so that's Bitcoin, ETH, Link. Let's take a quick look at Riot and Mara. Riot, again, it's very dependent on Bitcoin's price action. It's going to be interesting to see what happens to Riot because Bitcoin is actually not really performing. Bitcoin popped immediately after market close. So I do want to say this, and I realized I forgot to mention this in the crypto convo, even though I promised I would at the end of the video, but I didn't, so I'll do it now. Anyway, the fact that Bitcoin for the past 2 weeks has seen a significant jump immediately after market close on Friday before the weekend, this tells me, just the first thing that came to my mind both times this happened, is that the whales, that the institutions, that the market makers, that large players who dictate price action in the space, that's why they're called market makers, they want exposure to Bitcoin miners like Riot, Mara, and BTBT, and they are deliberately waiting until market close. They're accumulating these miners over the course of the week, and then deliberately, but while simultaneously wanting more exposure to Bitcoin as well. They are slowly but surely accumulating the miners over the week. If you guys noticed, even when Bitcoin was down a couple days, Riot, Mar, and BTBT, these equities, these Bitcoin mining equities, were going up. And that's probably a matter of a lot of these funds and institutions, again, wanting exposure to these, deliberately waiting until market close, and then pumping the price of Bitcoin by putting in a huge buy order for Bitcoin, which after the market close, after no one can trade anymore, after no one trades options, they're probably picking up crazy calls on these if they are planning on manipulating the market further, which they probably are because Bitcoin is the most manipulated market in the world. Wouldn't surprise me if that was the case. So I'm not saying that's true or not. I could be completely wrong, but that's my first intuition. It's that, again, market makers, whales, want exposure to Bitcoin miners and are deliberately waiting to increase their exposure to Bitcoin itself prior to market close so they can load up on the miners at a discount. Again, and then pick up BTC after that, okay? So, again, that's just kind of my hunch. Riot Mara, I'm not even going to talk about price action right now. This is still support. This line of previous support is new resistance for Riot. Again, it's going to be very interesting to see how Riot, Mara, BTBT react if Bitcoin does lag over the course of the weekend and does see more downside. And, again, it will be interesting to see what happens if the alts do well. Because, again, these are Bitcoin miners. It's going to be interesting to see if alts do well, will they do well? Or if alts do well and BTC does bad, will they lag as well, okay? And of course, Riot, Mara, because they do trade on the equity markets and the stock market, the performance of the overall equity markets will impact it as well. So there's a lot of factors at play here. Just keep your eyes, stay on your toes, guys, and stay vigilant, okay? So Mara, again, same thing. This previous line of support will act as new resistance, very dependent on Bitcoin. We'll just cover that when, if Bitcoin starts ripping, if Riot, Mara start ripping, we'll definitely go more into that. But for now, just keep an eye on the trend lines, guys. BTBT is a very, very weird one. So we're kind of seeing like somewhat of an ascending triangle playing out here, okay, which is pretty rare and a lot of times bearish. That is a bearish pattern, okay? So an ascending triangle is boop. Like, this is the opposite of a bull flag, okay? So an ascending triangle is this right here, okay? And a lot of times, because this is acting as resistance, this leads to more downside right here, okay? So, again, BTBT, we're seeing crazy volume, more volume than ever. I would not be surprised at the same time to see BTBT correct a little bit, again, because it does have this ceiling right here. We're obviously seeing volume drop off a cliff. Again, still a lot more than it was back here, but nothing like it has been for the past few days. If Bitcoin is lagging, that it wouldn't surprise me to see BTBT come down, maybe even back down to like $566. But I will say that I'm personally a buyer of BTBT at around 650. Like, there's so much crazy volatility that, like, the slightest move of the cursor is changing the price. But just ballpark, just around this area right here, middle of the gap, I would be comfortable personally buying BTBT long at about 650, but I'm not personally a buyer of BTBT just yet, considering I'm not confident enough in the price action and price direction overall of Bitcoin just yet. Okay, so that same thing applies to all the miners as well. Let's take a quick look. Again, nothing really relevant here. I kind of want to speed this up a little bit because we're just talking a lot. I'm just talking a lot, and you guys have to listen a lot. Again, ETH 2.0 coming up August. Allegedly, the London hard fork, which is the initial step to ETH 2.0. Why does my hair look like that? To ETH 2.0 is coming on August 4th, so just stay tuned for that. Very bullish for Ethereum regardless, and that is reflecting in the price action right now, of course. Okay, so earnings, just quickly go over this. Monday, T2, whatever. Tuesday, Activision Blizzard, Marriott, that's going to be a big one. Wednesday, we got Uber, big. Uber's got to be absolutely printing right now. EA is probably doing decently as well. Reopening, Activision Blizzard, EA, wouldn't be surprised if those are slowing down in the wake of the reopening, of course. Less people are inside playing video games. Not trading those personally, so that's just speculation. Square, that's going to be a big one. Square is probably printing as well in the wake of all the crypto volatility. Square, obviously great company. Beyond Meat, Kellogg's, very consumer facing. DraftKings will be a good precursor to the Penn. Actually, wait. No, I think Penn announces on Thursday or Friday. I think Penn announces on August 10th. So Penn National Gaming will announce on August 10th. Let's take a quick look at Penn. I do still hold DraftKings as well. I'm not going to take a look at that, but Penn is just a way more promising version of DraftKings. DraftKings market cap as well is at 19 billion, so about 20 billion is DraftKings. Penn is at a market cap of $10 billion, so like half the size of DraftKings in terms of the public market, in terms of just valuation. But Penn owns Barstool, huge fan of Barstool. Barstool has been doing a lot lately, and I think this is just a great, I love the look at this chart, honestly. Like, huge rally up. Penn reached a high of 150 bucks in March of this year before declining. What's the total? Before seeing a 55% correction, which is crazy for a stock like this, and they're crushing it right now. Reopening, you guys, if you've watched Lollapalooza, if you guys have seen Vegas, if like one-on-one boots on the ground, Kona, Hawaii, Big Island is popping more than I've ever seen it in my life. It's too popping. I don't like it. I can't get reservations anywhere. I can't eat anywhere I like, and it pisses me off. So take your Mahalo rewards cards back to, I'm just kidding. If you guys want to come to Hawaii, I definitely welcome you. The Waves fans are more than welcome, but everyone else. Anyway, so Penn is looking really good right now. Again, Penn kind of did, from a long-term perspective, just the first thing I'm seeing right here is a higher low on the overall uptrend. So high, low, higher high, coming down, capitulating. Again, bubbles popping, setting a higher low. And I do think Penn, following their earnings call on August 5th, okay, yeah, again, August 5th, the estimate's looking good. I think they will crush their estimate. I think they will surpass expectations. And I do think that will catalyze another significant move to the upside. I think Penn is definitely worth more than $10 billion. I think Barstool by itself is worth at least $10 billion, okay? And again, that's because we live in a market of brand. Barstool is arguably one of the most prominent and popular and respected sports brands and just lifestyle brands, I would say, in the continental U.S. Okay, so Penn looking good. I don't really have a price target to the upside, but I do think they'll crush. Let's take a look at Revolve quick. So Revolve has been ripping. If you guys look at Revolve, Revolve is just a stock that's been crushing it. I remember trading Revolve on their IPO back in when did they IPO? In like 2018 or something? June of 2019, okay? So they IPO'd in the summer of 2019. I remember picking up some stock at like 18 bucks when they IPO'd. Crazy to see that they're all at almost 70. Again, I am tight, like a couple points of contact away with these guys. Met them. Do consider them mentors of mine. Mr. Michael Mente is the founder, CEO, so shout out to Michael. But absolutely crushing it. But again, Revolve pretty much monopolizes women's fashion. If a chick is going to a festival, if a lady, not gonna say chick, if a beautiful lady is going to a festival or like just a nice gathering, a nice party, they are slightly higher tier, mid to high tier, almost scratching luxury, which again is a hot market right now. But again, if a beautiful lady going to a festival, going to an outing, going to an important event, or just even like going out in the town, Revolve, they're probably wearing Revolve. Okay, so Revolve is currently sitting at a market cap of $5 billion, and their earnings, you guys, if you look at their earnings, like estimate 13, surprise 17, like this is crazy. Their revenue is insane. They have the last quarter, $580 million in revenue and net income of $56 million. That's insane. So they're profitable. They're scaling their business significantly quarter over quarter, year over year. From a value perspective, this is probably the most value, like appropriately valued, like actually valued stock. Like, this is such a just such a safe play in my mind. Like, it would surprise me significantly if Revolve did not impress. Again, reopening festivals, Lollapalooza just happened. That looked insane. If you guys saw the meme about like the Krusty Krab and the pretty patties, Lollapalooza, I don't know if you guys saw that. I have no idea if you know what I'm talking about, but that was a funny meme. Let me know if you guys saw that. Regardless, technically ascending channel. I do think it's likely that they will crush earnings. I'll probably come test the top side. $90 is the price target. That's why I do have a $90 10-15 call position for Revolve. Let's talk about EVs just to close it out. So EVs, Moderna just crushing it. BE, why is this right here? So Bloom Energy, I do think can come up to Bloom Energy's earnings is on August 4th, so early Wednesday, I think. Bloom Energy, from a pop perspective, I do think can come up to test the overall line of resistance at the very least. So at least this is a decent short-term trade. I am very bullish in this company overall. Their market cap is at $3.75 billion. Again, green energy not going anywhere. This is here to stay. This is going to be a very sound company, I think, over the next decade or two. And I do think short-term, at the very least, we can see like a 17% move up if they impress on earnings on August 4th, which I think they will. Let's move on to QuantumScape. I mean, not much to say here, honestly. Basing out, pretty much erasing all the gains we saw following the earnings call. But from a long-term perspective, QuantumScape, it looks like we want to see a second wave. It looks like capitulation's over. I like the volume that we're seeing pick up once again right here. And QuantumScape's pretty solid. Sunrun, this is, again, probably one of the most prominent, one of the most successful solar stocks in the game. August 5th is their earnings. They have a $10.8 billion market cap. Sunrun, if Sunrun can break back into this ascending channel, I'll just make that the conservative channel right there. So if Sunrun does impress on earnings and they do break back into this ascending channel following the longer term breakout, you can see right here. So Sunrun, again, reached a high way back here at over $100. Since then, has seen over a 50% correction, broke out of resistance, now making its way slowly but surely back up, higher highs, higher lows. If Sunrun can reclaim this ascending channel, I think it's very likely that Sunrun can come up to about $70 over the coming weeks to retest the top side of that channel. Their earnings is on August 5th once again. Moving on, let's close it out with the Space Maxar. We'll take a look at Maxar just because quickly. So Maxar almost coming up almost perfectly to test my line of resistance. Maxar, if they impress on earnings, their earnings call is on August 4th as well. I do think that they will impress. They have shown profitability. They have shown quarter-over-quarter growth. And I'm feeling very confident in Maxar right now as well. Again, still hold a very significant position in Maxar, feeling very safe about this play. And it's going to be exciting to see if they can break this overall resistance. If they do that, then we could see some very, very promising upside. I do think I set a $50 price target for the stock. That wouldn't surprise me at all if I'm being completely honest, as did I believe JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs also set $50+ price targets for this stock. At least their analysts did. Okay, so Maxar Space, again, I do think Space will bounce. Workhorse not looking good. ALY is trash for now. Come through, guys. Helion, I mean, I'm just super bullish on Helion right now. Helion is slowly but surely making its way back up. Very slow, a slow series of higher highs and higher lows. Organic growth, which I do like to see. Is boring, but that keeps the calls cheap. And again, you guys, these calls, if they work out, and I think Helion, I think Helion's like such a dark horse, you guys. And again, zooming out here, so short term, Helion at this point does, damn, I hate when I do that because then it messes up the framing of my videos. If Helion at this point breaks 1150, like if we can see a $12 Helion, I'll be 100% convinced that we will see a move to the upside, likely even up to $18, just because that's historically acted as a very significant ceiling and floor for Helion. Maybe even higher, would not be surprised if it's higher than that. So like $18, $30, even back up to $35. Remember, Helion's all-time high just about a year ago, just less than a year ago, actually, almost a year ago at this point, month out, was at almost $60. It's currently sitting at sub $10, single digits, and I just think there's so much upside potential here, you guys. Even if it is somewhat of a speculative play, which it is, if I'm being completely honest, this is a gamble with the asymmetric risk profile that I'm looking for, and I'm willing to take that gamble, and I am, okay? So Tesla, we'll talk Lucid and then close it out with Tesla, just because Tesla, again, is the Bitcoin, is to EVs what Bitcoin is to crypto. Lucid, let's go to 4 hour here, just keep it a little shorter. Lucid is technically in a downtrend. Lucid will need to break this downtrend for me to get bullish, but at the same time, Lucid is setting a series of higher highs and higher lows. I like to see that it based out right here. High, low, higher high, higher low. I do think that at the very least, we will come up to Tesla's previous line of support as new resistance, considering Tesla looks good. If we can reclaim this ascending channel, I think Lucid will come up to test the top side of this ascending channel. August 12th, where the cursor falls, where the target falls, is going to be at about $33, $34. That was my initial price target, and yeah, that would be exciting. But at least I do think think we could see a move up to about 30 bucks to test this high back here. Again, in the wake of Tesla doing well as well. Let's close it out with Tesla. So Tesla, again, you guys, let's go to the daily here and just take a look at this very, very significant line of resistance that was broken. Daily Stokes curling to the upside, following a break of overall resistance on both levels. So this shorter term line of resistance broke above, closed the daily above it. And then this next daily closed above overall resistance on this downtrend. From a technical perspective, this is extremely, extremely bullish for Tesla. Let's actually move this chart. Where's that? Okay, now it's like right there, okay? So at the very least, I do think Tesla, like at least now, from a I think it's almost guaranteed that Tesla over the coming days will come up to test this previous line of support, this sign line right here that you guys just watched me move. Previous support as new resistance. This would take us up to say August, when's the end of this week? August 6th. Over the course of this week, I think Tesla could see a move up to about 740 price range from current levels. 740. You're looking at about a 7% move to the upside. So I do think Tesla can see a 7% move up over the course of this week. If Tesla can break above this, then it's probably on its way to new all-time highs, if I'm being completely honest, and we're just going to resume the overall rally, okay? So Tesla's bullish. I'm bullish on EVs. Helion, again, Helion is like the dark horse that is, at this point, I feel like a great asymmetric trade. Always doing your research, you guys. Not financial advice, but for real, you guys, I'm very excited to see what happens with EVs. Very excited to see what happens with crypto this week. BTC down a little bit. Love to see Ether, again, love to see Ether and Link ripping right now. So let me know down below what you guys are thinking about literally anything. I know that was a lot to cover, you guys, but that's kind of the nature of these Sunday Stock Watch videos. Really relaxed, but also kind of intense at the same times because I just have to rush this for you guys, okay? But yeah, I look forward to talking to you guys in the comments without any of the dumb bots. So I'll catch you guys downstairs. Appreciate you guys. Hope you had a great weekend. But again, we got a big week ahead. So I'll catch you guys in the morning. Till then, always remember, take action. Make waves, fam. All right. Peace, guys.